Welcome, viewers. This is A Vision Entertainment once again, and I am your host, Tommy Slaughter. Right now, we have Miss Cheryl Cooley, as an iconic musician, best known as the original guitarist, musical director, and a co-founder of the pioneering all-female R&B funk band Klymaxx, known as Unruly Cooley. She's she is. I'm
I
sorry.
wasn't expecting you to say that. Okay. Okay.
You
Yes,
know,
sir.
she is an award-winning artist and guitarist recognized for infusing an electric, funky sound into the band's music and for helping to pave the way for future female artists in the male-dominated industry. Please welcome the iconic Cheryl Cooley. How are you?
Fine.
Just had to bring you on right.
I wasn't expecting that one, but okay. Yes. Yes.
Well, I just did a little I did a little research and I just
Uh-oh.
put it all together. That's basically.
Okay.
But I truly thank you for coming on to the show, A Vision Entertainment. It's a blessing, and I am honored to have you here. Thank you.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for having me on.
Wonderful, wonderful. Like I said, I was a little worried, like, oh, but I know how busy you are. You're very busy, so I can understand it.
Oh, it's okay. Once I see the information, I'll work something out. We work this together, right?
Right, and it happened, and you're here, so that's the
Yes,
beauty
sir.
of it. You know,
Yeah.
you were a core instrumentalist in the field overwhelming dominated by men. Did you ever feel you had to adopt a male mindset to
Oh,
complete, or did you consciously carve out distinctly feminine approach to the business and the music?
oh, wow. I've never been asked that before. Well, my first thought was musician. I've got to show that I'm a musician first, because of course, being a female was going to be the first thing they noticed, and then it's like, well, can you keep up?
Yeah. Okay. Can you keep?
So, yeah, so my focus was always, being the best musician I could be, being the best guitarist I could be,
Okay.
learning as much about music theory
Mhm.
as I could.
Okay.
So, once you know your craft, once you know your art, uh, at that point, gender kind of doesn't matter, because you could be a great guitarist and play better than the next guy sitting next to you. So
Yeah.
my focus was always about being a great musician first.
That's right. Okay. Great musician. That's great.
Yeah.
Can you describe the emotional journey of creating a song that is deeply personal and how it feels to then share that vulnerability with a large audience?
Oh, wow. But it's creativity. Yes, there is some vulnerability there, but the creativity of it kind of takes over. Everybody has a story, and a lot of people can put that story into song.
Mhm.
Even, there are people that can put stories into movies too,
Yeah,
but
the music. That's
putting
right.
it into song, I something about creativity just kind of takes over and guides you as to, how to make all the pieces come together.
Yeah.
And there's always going to be someone that has experienced the same thing that can relate to what's being expressed in a song.
Mhm.
For me, it's always about being open to the creativity.
Mhm.
Um, and then, of course, you have some guidelines, because, in a song, especially if you're working in a sense of commercialism, you always have to have, a verse, a chorus, a bridge. Well, back
That's right.
then you
A
did,
bridge. Mhm.
now they just have one groove and change the
That's
one.
right. That's right. That's right. That's one groove. That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. Wow, this one groove. Wow. It seems like do sometimes, back then, maybe up to now, do it feels like you have to kind of carry the group even back then? Did you feel like you had a lot of pressure on you?
Um, yes and no. I mean, because back then, um, we were having fun. We didn't know the pitfalls, I guess you could say, of the industry because we really hadn't experienced it while we were out there and popular and stuff. So we were really doing what came fun. We were having fun, and of course, being an all-female band was like, nah, 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 nah,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Like, yeah,
nah. And people like, oh, well, wow, an all-female band, wow, they sound pretty good. So, we hadn't experienced those pitfalls to really understand the, I don't know, what the dark part of it. I don't know,
yeah, yeah.
but I think the excitement of creating and playing music, that's what really sustained you through the ups and downs. Even now,
Right.
I still enjoy getting on stage all these many years later.
Mhm.
Uh, I appreciate the audience's reaction, and they're still interested in, our songs. Meeting in the ladies' room, I Miss You, and the Men All Pause are always a big hit in our show. So that for me is an honor that our fans, listeners, friends, family, newcomers, they want to hear those songs. They want to see us perform those songs still.
Well, now what we people has been saying, and I have been reading, you actually wrote all the songs.
Oh, no, 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 no. I actually wrote the very first song that got us the record deal,
Okay.
called Never Underestimate the Power of a Woman.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
It, we, at the time, record companies weren't, how do I say, vibing, or
I've been
with the
okay.
whole idea of an all-female band. I mean, one
Yeah.
time we took our song to a record company and said, "Well, what if you all get pregnant at the same time?"
Wow. Wow.
The
Wow.
mentality of accepting an all-female band was a little more challenging, but not impossible. So, uh, we just kept the songs, writing the songs of, being, that's what Never Underestimate the Power of a Woman. Our first single that came
Right.
out was about, playing in a band, and the reaction of people, and, never underestimate the power of a woman, of, being in a band and still having a regular life.
That's right. That's right. Wow. What I find amazing is that Klymaxx's music has a unique balance of sass, vulnerability, and funk power. How did the collective mindset of the band navigate these different emotions, spaces during the creative process?
Oh, personalities, just
Personality.
personalities, personal experiences. Yeah, it's our personalities. That's what we were about, Again, wanting to have fun and then still express what we were going through, but not in a bad way, just in a, guess what happened to me today?
Yeah, yeah. Not in a bad way. Just
Yeah,
you
not in a
know.
bad way. Yeah,
Wow. Okay. Well, that's wonderful. That's great.
right.
We have to touch on your school. Getting a degree.
Oh,
You've earned you earned a degree, actually a commercial music.
yes, yes.
Was
Yeah,
right.
even in school and college, being, especially the school that I went to, it was very rare to see a black female majoring in commercial music at the time.
Yeah.
I even remember hearing some of the teachers say, you know, to the entire class, just make sure you understand you're not going to make it in music. They
Wow.
would
Wow.
actually tell you
Wow.
that, like,
Yeah.
get a backup plan kind of thing.
Wow.
But I always kid about myself saying, I was too stupid to know I was supposed to fail.
That's
So
right.
I just kept going,
No,
just,
that's deep. That's deep.
because in my, I guess my mind, my imagination, my thoughts, I was always looking for, that record deal, that record contract. I just knew that I knew that I knew that I knew that it was going to happen. I didn't know how. I mean, there was even times when I'd have to catch the bus to go to school, and I'd be thinking, somebody's going to jump on the bus and say, "Here, Cheryl, here's a contract."
Oh
I mean,
wow,
it
wow,
was just
yeah.
that kind of a broad imagination
Mm.
that I expected it to happen. I didn't know how, where, when, but it was an expectation.
You
And I think
expected
that's
it.
what a
Yeah.
lot of creatives tend to forget is that you just have to have a certain level of expectation. No matter what somebody says, no matter if your mama, your papa, your cousin, your brother tell you you ain't
Right.
gonna make it, you just have to know and know and know and know and know in your mind it's going to happen. No matter what the naysayers are saying, no matter what the family is saying, no matter what your classmates are saying, that you just know. You just have to. I can't express that
Yeah,
enough.
you have to know that's
Oh,
going to happen. You know, you just have to know.
have to know it's going to happen. And
That's it.
more than likely, it's going to happen in a way that you never anticipated or even had an idea that it could happen this way.
That's right. That's right. Wow. Can you? I just want to just talk about the group. Can you share a specific time a creative disagreement occurred within the band
Oh, gosh.
and the process you used to resolve it while maintaining a positive working relationship?
I think probably the most times we would kind of clash with like when we would be putting together our live shows,
Mhm.
because um, we would have to kind of think ahead as to what the audience was going to be wild about and what things the audience was going to be kind of bored about.
Mhm.
And that was always kind of work in progress, somebody having a different opinion. Oh, let's play this song. They're going to like it. No, we should put this song here. No, but if we do this and this song, so it's still part of the creative process, even
Yeah.
though you're not agreeing. And sometimes you just have to take it out on the road and test it and
That's
see if
right.
it's going to work or not. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. I
Yeah.
remember the very first time we went out on tour with Midnight Star, Shalimar, and Klymaxx, because we were all on the the same label, Solar Records, and we had, I don't know, some sort of ending uh, in the end of Men All Pause was our last song. And we
Mhm.
kind of did, kind of copied off the time doing the dance of the bird at the end of the song with
Oh.
the, in the end of the song, it kind of has a keyboard um, chord pattern for those who are musicians that know what I mean. And we found that that didn't wow the audience. And so we had to, while we were on the road, like almost the next couple of shows, we had to
Uh-huh.
change our ending.
Oh,
And
change it
so
up.
we realized that the best explosive ending for our show was like a wild guitar solo. So we still did the
Wow.
mental pause, but at the end of it, we had this wild guitar solo, and this really captivated the audience. And it's really something I incorporate now at the end of the show and stuff like that, because it's a magnetic sound that people gravitate to, and is so, I don't know, loud and massive. It makes you pay
Yeah,
attention.
it does. It does. It's the noise. It's the sound. That's what it's.
Yeah.
Wow. What inspired you to actually play the guitar? What was that thing that said, Let me go ahead and try this out." What was it?
So, for some reason, ever since I was a kid, my parents always gave me a toy guitar every other Christmas. It was just like under the tree. That was just like a staple. Whatever toys I got, there was the guitar. And, of
Okay.
course,
Okay.
as I got older, the guitar got more and more advanced, even though it was still a toy. And at the time, my sister, who is actually 16 years older than I am,
Okay.
was married to a jazz musician by the name of Hubert Laws. And
Okay.
he's a flautist. For those who are in jazz, of course, they know
Yeah.
that.
Flawless.
And so, I don't know, by some means of the universe, God, spirit, whatever you believe, my guitar was accidentally tuned to a TV show, right? And so I was
Oh.
excited. I was like, oh, I can play a song. And so I ran and I showed my sister, and Hubert, my then brother-in-law, and I was like, look, I can play a song. And my sister was like, hey, we should get Cheryl some guitar lessons. So at that time I was like, I don't know, like 11, I guess. And, they got some private guitar lessons for me. And because, again, there was such an age gap between my sister and I, we were like the only child, but in the same family at
Yeah.
the time.
Yeah.
So the guitar was like my playmate. So, I studied private lessons, and even in school, I took, some music classes that also contributed to my knowledge of composition and songs and stuff like that. And it, really wasn't until I got into high school where they incorporated playing guitar in an orchestra, because, orchestra doesn't usually have guitar in it, but well, nowadays it does. But back then
Now,
it
now,
didn't.
now, back then it didn't, but
Yeah, so that's what I got a chance to actually play, in school, and of course we had talent shows, and that's actually where I learned the majority of my theory, music theory,
talent shows and stuff like that.
knowledge. Was my teacher taught me how to write arrangements for songs off of the radio, and even in
Okay.
my senior year in high school. For our football games, I was given the opportunity to write one song off the radio for our halftime shows. So
Wow.
that again, taught me orchestration and arranging, which
Yeah.
that kind of talent was what I needed to bring to Klymaxx to, be the musical director at the time and get our sound together so that a record company would pay attention. And even that's another story too that I'm hoping you ask me a question of.
Yeah. Well, we're gonna let's go into that right after I ask you. Matter of fact, can we go into it now and then I ask the next question after that?
I didn't mean to take over your show
No,
here.
no, I want to go into that, and then let's go into the next question
Okay,
after.
because it all kind of ties together, and
Yeah, yeah.
again, like I said, in college, of course, I expanded my knowledge about it and stuff, and that took me to a place where I was playing with different local bands in the Los Angeles area,
Mhm.
and I happened to be rehearsing in this place where, one day these girls were looking in the window in the rehearsal room, and they were kind of, I could tell they were looking and talking and stuff because, I was a rarity at that time, well, female guitarist in a
Yeah.
lot of bands, So they just kind of walked in the room and said, "Hey, you don't want to play in this band? You want to play in our band? We have an all-female band called Klymaxx." And I was like, "Okay." So,
Right.
I got together with everybody, and again, my skill set, kind of uh, brought in the sound of the group. Again, the song "Never Underestimate" was compiled,
Yeah.
and I had this, I had the band to make a recording, a demo tape. So
Yeah.
I was also working in a bank at the time, and I told my supervisor about this all-female band I was in called Klymaxx, and she said, "Oh, well, if you give me a demo tape and a package, I'll give it to my uncle. He's the producer for People Bryson at the time."
Mhm.
And so we gave him the tape, and he listened to it and called us in for a meeting, and he didn't like it.
Oh wow. He didn't like it at all.
He
What
didn't
was
like it. But let me just say again, when one door closes, that does
the
not mean
other ones
another
open?
door won't open. So he happened to be having lunch with one of the executives of Solar Records, and
Yeah.
he said, I got this all-female band. I don't think they're that good. And she goes, all-female band, let me hear it. So again, a different set of listening ears. She could hear the potential.
Yeah.
Her name was Margaret Nash at the time, working at Solar Records, and she called and said, when she could come see our rehearsal. She came to rehearsal. She loved what she saw. She saw the energy, the potential. She brought the president of the company, Dick Griffey, to the rehearsal,
Oh
and we were
yeah.
signed immediately. We weren't even
Oh
together a
wow.
whole year, and we were
Wow.
signed to a record company deal at that time. So, I mean, that's just kind of how everything manifested for us. And, Klymaxx put together, what is it, five albums in almost a
Yeah.
10-year
Albums.
period with the staff of Solar Records. Yeah.
Well, that's an amazing story. Now, from the time when they looked in the window and said, "You should be with us, be with our band," what what happened with the group? Because it's like a split up. It's like one half went this way, the other half went that way. What happened from then until now? From why did everybody split up like this?
Well, I think, we all as creatives have ideas that, we think things should be one way or things should be another way. Of course, I wanted all of us to be together
Yeah,
as,
yeah.
original band. Because I was, the one who was approached about putting the band together because I still have the same telephone number.
Oh, since then? Wow, wow, wow. You never
Yeah,
changed it.
yeah, what can I say? Hey,
No, there's nothing wrong with it. There's nothing wrong with it at all. You don't still have the same beeper. No, I'm just joking. You know,
Look, I've only had three addresses in my entire life, so I'm where I am.
oh, okay, yeah. Well, it's a good thing to have that same number. But
Yeah,
some
so
people have,
I was
yeah.
called. They figured Cheryl's the most the person everybody would have the number to, and the management that we had in the back in the '80s had called and said, hey Cheryl, if you get the girls back together, we can get you on some old school shows. And so I
Oh,
contacted the majority of the girls, and I got things like I'm too old, I'm too fat, I got too many kids, it's not
oh,
going to work. And
wow.
the old school tours were very new at the time that this idea was brought to us. And even though they didn't see the vision, I just kept going thinking that they would change their mind. And then when they saw that I wasn't changing their mind, it's like, oh, well, now wait a minute. Then it's
Okay,
like, well, she can do it, I can
I
do it.
could
So
do it. Yeah.
yeah, it's just kind of got convoluted from that point.
Despite and the money is always great. That's the number one thing. That's why people go do shows. But on that stage, do you still feel that same energy, meaning the music, and do you still feel that and just, or is it just like, oh, it's just another show? Like,
No, no, I still feel the same excitement and energy.
okay,
When I get on stage now, what surprises me though is that the audience is just as excited as I am.
oh
It's
yeah,
like,
of course, but
wow,
yeah, the
we got
classic
a marriage
songs.
going on here.
That's right. That's right, the
So
classic songs. You know.
yeah, yeah. I mean, I still enjoy playing guitar. I mean, I've been playing most of my life. I have a few guitars, but I have my staple too that I
Okay,
play the
okay,
most. I have others. I have others. If people
okay.
go to my social media, they'll see a picture of all the different guitars I have. But I have my staple too that I play all the time because
All right.
they give me the type of sounds, and they're easier to play.
Yeah.
So, but I still have the same. The only thing that takes anything away is the logistics and all of that. The business part of it sometimes can be a downer, but once I get on that stage, it's on a cracking.
But I hear that. It's on. It's on. There's no turning back. It's on.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
What songs, because you have a whole catalog. You have 5 albums, a whole bunch of singles. What does the crowd wants to hear the most? Is it I Miss You or Men Are Pause? Or
Okay, so our signature song that everybody connects us to is Meeting in the Ladies' Room. That,
meeting the
yeah,
ladies.
that usually is the biggest hit live.
Yeah.
But when you start talking to somebody, you're not on the show, or you say, oh yeah, I play music, and the song that they relate the band to is I Miss You,
I
which
Miss
was
You.
of course our biggest hit. And then Men All Pause was like our first single out with a video, because at the time our first two albums, video wasn't really popular and normal, I
At
guess you
that
would say, at
time.
the
Yeah.
time, until we got to our third album, which is Meeting in the Ladies' Room, and then people could
Yeah.
actually see what an all-female band was like. The energy and the staging and everything. So it's kind of all three of them. Meeting in the Ladies' Room, we play that at the show. People lose their mind when
Hmm.
people hear "I Miss You" on the radio. It's like, oh yeah, I remember that song. And yet, and
Yeah.
still, when we talk about video, then it's about the men all pause.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. So basically everything, but just one particular song they really, really love. And I Miss You, I guess that is the one.
Yeah,
Oh,
sure.
yeah. When faced with the industry skepticism or pushback against an all-female band playing their own instruments, what internal dialogue did you use to maintain your confidence and keep pushing forward?
Again, it was like, we're too stupid to know. They're trying to discourage us, so we just gonna keep going.
We're gonna keep going. Right,
We
that's
just
right.
gonna
That's
keep
right.
going. We don't know any different. Let's keep
That's
going.
right. That's right. Just keep going. Just keep going. They don't
Yeah,
know.
yeah.
How did you mentally reconcile the band's need for commercial success, pop hits like I Miss You, with the raw, gritty funk roots that define your authentic musical soul? Still a little confusing? Oh,
Well, I mean, it's about the music. I mean, I'm not sure why that would be an issue because it's always about the music, uh, playing what the audience likes to hear. Um, yeah, I'm not really sure how to answer that. I didn't even,
Well, you just
yeah,
did. You
okay.
did in a nice, cool, laid back. You know, you as you was talking, you was thinking about, okay, I'm gonna put this in it, but it turned out right. It did.
No need to be messy about things and just, it's all about the music. Let's have some fun with some music.
That's right. Let's just have some fun. Wow, wow. And your guitar style is instantly recognizable. When you pick up the guitar, what is the single emotional message you are trying to channel every time you play a note?
Oh, wow. I mean, I always think of myself as being a funketeer. I try to play the funkiest rhythm I can
Okay.
find, the
Okay.
funkiest rhythm I
Okay.
can feel. But
Focus.
I did have a guitar mentor icon that I was able to hang around with for a few months, and I'm going to say his name when I tell you what happened. I saw him at one of my Hubert, my brother-in-law at the time, at one of his sessions. I saw the guitar player, and I really liked his style and stuff, and started talking to him, and he invited me over to hear me play. He
Mhm.
wanted to hear me play, and so I played some stuff for him, and he says, "Wait, it's not what you're playing; it's how you're
How
playing."
you play. Okay.
And so he kind of showed me his style, and I kind of adopted that, which his name is Ray Parker Jr.
Hmm.
And he really kind of took me under his wing to show me, how to, I don't want to say attack the song, but,
Yeah.
kind of how to, you know, play the note or,
Yeah. Not attack, but just play.
yeah, the technique, because,
Mhm.
you know, he told me, he's like, you can play one note through a whole song and it can either sound boring or you can
Yeah.
make it sound exciting and people don't realize it's the same note all the
That's
way
right. That's
through.
right.
So
That's right.
that
That's
was
right.
really the turning point of my playing in the very beginning, even before, I got in Climax. I was able to kind of adopt his idea, his style of, how to make it funky.
That's right. That's right. That's right. And I know and sometimes when you're on stage with that guitar, do you actually sometimes you can lose it because you so into it. Did you actually play so much where they had to make you stop because you was into it so much like okay, okay. Like
Right.
just kept going, just kept going, you know?
Kind of rarely happens. Yeah, but you have a time frame
You do.
on
Yeah.
stage. Yeah, you got to get off at a certain time. But
Yeah.
yeah, there are times when it's like, oh, okay, okay, can somebody bring her back into
Okay. Okay.
reality?
Yeah, because I went to a few concerts and one person he was hitting this note. They was telling him that the time is over. They had to get off stage. He hit the note, but the crowd was loving it. He didn't leave like that. Like that's it.
Yeah, and depending on the venue,
Okay, okay.
if the show isn't ending at a certain time, the promoter
Mhm.
has to pay a penalty. He has to pay money for it. So he's definitely trying to get you off stage. But
Yeah.
some of the clubs that you might play at, they don't specifically have
They
a
might let it slide a little.
yeah, no, they'll let it slide, extra 10, 20 minutes.
Okay. Yeah, not too much. Not too much. Yeah, but that's cool.
Yeah.
Wow, wow. How do you feel about the music industry now? Like, do you think that it's just watered down or there's no value to it anymore? What is your take?
Well, it's gotten very corporate in orientated, it's,
Okay.
very uh, about the bottom line. I'm not saying it hasn't always been about the bottom line, but at some point the focus of creativity kind of left the room.
It left. Okay. Okay. Yeah, you can say it like that. It it just walked out. I mean, there's no more.
I'm done. I gotta go.
Yeah. And they
But
didn't go. They didn't go after it. They just let it go. They just let it
well,
roll.
and think about it. Technology is a big thing as to, how creativity kind of left the room.
Yeah.
No longer is the requirement
Okay.
of studying an instrument for years to be able to, make manifest all kinds of wonderful music. Now you can just push a button.
That's right.
So that part of it has definitely changed how we listen, how we write, how we perform music. Of course, it used to be where you had to take piano lessons, drum lessons, horn lessons for, a few years at least to be able to get on stage and perform for the audience. Now, with technology, it's already pre-programmed and, the least musical talented person, but the most technical talented person can make a hit song now.
That's right.
So
That's
it,
right.
it's different. Luckily, I luckily things are kind of wavering. I'm not going to
Yeah.
say they're changing, but they're
They're
wavering,
wavering.
and people are like, I don't want to just see a DJ and a guy on a microphone. I want to see a band. I want to see performers. I want to see music being created right there on stage. So a lot of that is really leaning, a lot of our audiences are really leaning toward that to where they want to see a live band. They want
Right.
to see
That's right.
live musicians and not just a track. So that's good for live music.
Okay. Okay. Great. That's wonderful. And I know we've talked about getting a guitar around, under the tree and things like that. That's all you really, your mother, your family kept buying you a good guitar.
Yeah,
That's what they wanted you to have.
yeah,
When you look in the mirror, do you see that teenage girl who dreamed of playing a guitar?
of course. Yes, of course.
Wow,
Yeah.
I find that interesting.
It's, another kind of, I don't know, ethereal thing that kind of happened was I was visiting my family in Chicago. I'm originally from Chicago.
Mhm.
And we went to some festival or something where there was an artist, drawing, how they draw a caricature of you.
Yeah.
And so, I went over and sat down and he drew my picture. And I can't say whether he asked me, what I did, because at the time I was not a professional musician. He might have asked, what do you like to do, kind of thing.
Mhm.
And so I could have probably told him, that. But the picture that he drew was me playing guitar on stage, and in the background there was a guy with a contract and a pen.
Oh
You know,
wow.
I still
Wow.
have that picture of, and this is before Klymaxx, before becoming a professional music,
Oh, you
everything.
still have it. Mhm.
Yeah, he foresaw that, and that's what he drew.
Wow, wow. That was amazing. That blew your mind a little, right? Just
Yeah,
watching,
yeah,
looking at that.
yeah.
I'm going to ask you this question, and I'm going to go slow. I'm going to take my time with
Okay.
it because I wanted to marinate because I really want to know the answer you're going to give.
Oh, okay.
If you could have a conversation with your younger self during the height of meeting in the ladies' room success, what wisdom about the music industry's fleeting nature would you impart?
I would tell my younger self, just like I'll tell all young musicians now, save money, put money aside. If you get a gig and you get $100, I don't know, put $20 aside.
That's right.
Do
That's
like you
right.
do in church. You got to give church 20%, give yourself 20%. Put it
That's right.
away, put it
That's right.
away, put it away. I can't stress that enough because there's going to be busy times and there's going to be not busy
Not
times.
busy
And those
times.
not busy times, you may not be getting any kind of income or substance to be able to sustain yourself. And
That's
I
right.
really wish I would have told my younger self to put more money aside. I'm not hurting now, but had I could have foresee how things in the music industry were going to happen, I definitely would have put more aside to sustain myself. And that's what any artist. You got to put something aside. I don't know, get an
That's right.
IRA so when
That's
you
right.
get 60, you'll have
Yeah,
something.
that's right. That's
What
right.
is it, IRA, an IRA? If
Yeah,
you
yeah,
can
yeah.
work for
IRA. That's
$1,000,
right.
put it away for
Yeah,
20
yeah.
years.
Put it away. That's right. Yeah.
You
Because
know?
there's a lot of stories about that. People didn't save their money. They don't even
Yeah.
have medical insurance. None of this stuff, you
Oh,
know?
that part too. Yeah, you got to take care of yourself when you're doing any kind of entertainment because it's such a demand on your physicality. You got to take
Yeah.
care. Everybody says eat right, but when you're on the road, sometimes you don't have a choice of
You,
what to
you,
eat.
you don't you
But
don't have a choice.
yeah, you still have to, make wise choices a few times, if not all the
Yeah,
time, at least a
a,
few
a,
times.
a few
But yeah,
times.
I mean, put money aside, learn as much as you can about your craft, your industry, because it's going to change.
Yeah,
I mean, we're being witness now to how the industry, not just music industry, but the whole entertainment industry
entertainment industry.
is like almost changing every month. It's
That's right.
always
That's right.
something new
That's
that you're
right.
like, I didn't know that last month. So yeah, I mean, learn as much as you can, put money aside. Whatever age you are, buy an IRA. I don't know, buy
That's right.
some sort of quick money CD, something.
Yeah, just something. It's something to put in. You know what I find ironic about this music industry and the business about this whole thing? They won't give you medical insurance. Like when you sign that contract, I'm quite sure they may not give you that, but they'll put a life insurance policy on you.
Oh yeah, that part.
So,
Yeah.
so I don't understand why not give you the medical insurance also. But why you think that is like that? They just give you the
Well, you have to look at it, they're looking at it in a business way because if something happens to the artist, they can no longer make a profit. Even though, people say, and I hate to say this, but if an artist passes away, sometimes their product goes up in sales. But as far as medical, um, I mean, each state is different because in California, we have LA Care. Anybody can get medical insurance
oh,
here,
okay, yeah,
So
LA,
it's,
okay,
probably easier here than a lot of places. But even if it's something for emergencies, I don't
hmm
know what they call it now, but it doesn't necessarily have to be full coverage, but something for emergencies so that,
yeah,
you're not out on the road and all of a sudden you need to, run to the hospital. You got to, and I'm saying that because sometimes that's the cheapest of all of them.
yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
but,
Wow,
things have changed in the medical industry so that, you have to kind of investigate what your state offers so that you can be
mhm.
covered when you, start to travel or
Good
perform
travel.
or go to
Yeah,
these different venues and stuff like that. Because it may not be anything that, is wrong with you, but somebody may do something to endanger, your situation where you do get hurt. So you have
that's
to,
right.
definitely think. But, record companies, if they put a life insurance policy on you, I mean, they're just looking after their bottom line. I mean, let's be honest. A record company sees you as a product. They're
Product.
making
That's
a
it.
profit off of you.
That's it.
They
That's
are
it.
not necessarily worried about your well-being. They are worried about your profitability.
That's right.
So
That's
that's
right.
all they're
That's
going to
right.
look at. Yeah, they may have, I don't know, sent a Mercedes Benz over to your house as a thank you because, you're breathing.
Oh, okay. One of them.
Right.
Yeah, yeah.
But they're going to have insurance on you and that car because if you
That's right.
become reckless, they still want to be able to make money off of your craft, off of your talent, off of your persona. You are just a product on a shelf to them. And that's unfortunate that a lot of artists don't get the understanding of. Yes, you
Wow.
got a great song, you got a hit song on the radio, everybody's buying it, downloading it, whatever they're doing, going to your concerts, but you are still a product.
Wow. Wow. And that's the bottom line. You just a
Yeah,
product.
yeah,
It doesn't matter.
yeah.
Wow. Wow. Coming through the industry as an all-female band, what unique challenges did Climax face?
Uh, People being shocked that we could actually play instruments.
Oh, wow. Wow. Oh, that
Wow,
was
they
one of the
really do
biggest.
play.
Wow. That was
Yeah. And nowadays it's like, oh, they're not playing to a track; they're actually playing instruments.
that's right.
Yeah,
They playing instruments. That's right.
yeah,
Wow. So that was a big challenge. Was there
yeah.
any other things like other groups, basically like competing? Because it's
Oh,
always a competitive industry.
uh, well, if there was, we didn't pay attention because we were just like, hey, here we are.
That's
I'm
right. Here
sure
we go.
for other bands it was, but it didn't. It didn't. I don't want to say it didn't affect us, but we weren't focused on that. We were just doing us. We were just
Doing
doing,
that's right. That's right. That's right.
and to to focus in on someone else's insecurities, because that's really what it
Yeah,
is
yeah.
to take away from your own
Oh,
energy in producing, conducting, performing your own craft. You
that's
can't
right.
think
That's right.
about, Billy Joe and them over there mean mugging you.
That's
You
right.
gotta
That's right.
think
You got
about,
this. Think about you.
yeah, you gotta think about you and the audience are having a transaction here of musicality.
That's right.
That's what you
That's
should be
right.
focused on. And yeah, I mean, a lot of times, you know, I've done it myself. Look out in the audience and somebody's like, it's like, whatever, but I'm having fun. I'm up here and you're not.
That's right. There you go. And that's it. And that's all. You know. Wow. Climax, of course, is the only all-female R&B band to have charted on Billboard magazine.
Yeah.
Now, in your opinion, how do you feel Climax paved the way for current female artists with all-female bands like Beyonce and Lizzo? Do you believe that you are the reason why a lot of these bands are out, a lot of these groups are out now?
Well, as much as I want to say yes, I'll put
Oh,
that aside. I'm going to
okay.
put it right now
Well, yes.
because
Go ahead.
Climax wasn't the first or only all-female band that was out there. I mean, there was a rock band by the name of the Runaways that were out before us. Another
But, yeah.
pop band, the Go-Go's, they were out actually at the same time Climax was out there. So, I mean,
But
Climax
but
is
yeah,
not,
but charted. You charted the Billboard
yeah,
magazine.
and
Yeah.
they charted, sure, yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
But Climax is the only R&B all-female band. The other ones, like I
Yeah.
said, they were rock, they were pop. So I can't say Climax was the only all-female band out there because there were others that, came before us. Did they pave the way or did we pave each other's way? That's the
Okay.
question.
Yeah. Well, yeah. You can say that.
Yeah,
But I mean, of course, when you look at these new artists now, you have to go back to who the
sure,
originals were. You
sure,
know,
of course,
to
yeah,
get to
yeah.
pay homage. You have to pay
Yeah,
homage.
yeah. I mean, and we've even performed somewhere back east where there's a very popular female band out there, and a couple of them have even approached me and said, it's because of Climax that we were able to do this, or I was able to play an instrument.
Oh,
This
wow.
happened for me. So yeah, Climax made a big impact on a lot of female instrumentalists out there, so I'm grateful for that because at the time we were just having fun. We were just doing what came naturally. Like, ooh, let's go do this now.
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
had no idea that we were making that kind of an impact on the
History.
music industry.
That's right. Making history.
Yeah.
Big impact. What memories stand out most from the band's peak success? Like, if you can go back, what are your most memorable memories about them?
Okay, so this is what happened one day.
That was too easy. But go ahead.
Right. So I don't remember the city. I want to say it was Cincinnati. I could be wrong. And this is, back in the day. And we were performing the song I Miss You. And
Uh,
so, we're in the moment, whatever, eyes closed, singing, blah, 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 blah. The audience is into it. And all of a sudden, the lead vocalist goes, oh! And so we're like, well, what happened? So then we see her throw something down, right? And so it's like,
yeah.
what just happened? And so all of a sudden, she kind of made the same sound. And we
Oh.
realized, or she finally acknowledged that there was some guy who was just so excited about Climax that he threw his Fruit of the Loom underwear up on the
Oh,
stage.
wow. Yeah. Yeah. He did that. I know. Did he get thrown out the place? Did they throw him out?
No, no, because then, the third time he just threw, they were the tidy whities. He just threw the whole package and
Wow.
the last one up there to show they were brand new.
He threw his underwear. Wow.
He
Mm.
threw his underwear. So that's like the most memorable event being on stage. And I mean, it's like you're
Okay.
not expecting that.
Wow. Wow. That was funny. He actually did that. Like, wow. That was bold. That was bold.
But it
Wow.
was a
So
lifetime memory.
wow. So I guess I can go into I can go into what is the biggest highlight of your career thus far.
Oh my gosh. Okay, you know what? For me, of course, receiving a gold album on Soul Train was like, wow, this is like
Oh, that was
a
big.
dream come true. But for me, my the first concert I ever went to on my own was one of the Jacksons concerts at
Oh,
a place in Inglewood, California called the Forum.
okay.
And from that moment on, my dream was, wow, I wish I could, because I had seen the Forum all my life, driving by as a kid, and it was just like wanting to be there, wanting to perform there because that was the
Yeah.
first concert I had ever gone to. And fast forward, oh my gosh, I don't know how many years. I'd almost have to count. It was, like over 20 years, I
20
guess,
years. Yeah.
even more so than that.
Mhm.
And I had the opportunity to perform at the fabulous Forum in Inglewood,
Wow.
California.
Wow.
And that
Wow.
was a dream come true for me. And the venue was more spectacular backstage than I could have ever imagined. I mean, it was probably the most fabulous venue backstage, or I should say one of, I can't say the only,
Beautiful,
one of
right?
the most,
Beautiful.
yeah, fabulous, the whole ambiance and the way it had been, reconstructed and remodeled and everything. It
Mhm.
was just a fabulous venue to be able to have my dream come true, to
Wow.
perform
Wow.
there and be on stage and be backstage and on stage.
So that was one of many, because I know you have a lot more, but that stood out. That stood out the most.
That stood out the most, yeah, because that was my longest dream come true kind of thing for me.
That's right. That's right. Wow. What that's great. That stood out the most. You
Yeah,
know,
yeah.
I know we spoke about the split that's happening, with the group. But I just would like to know, how do you navigate the ongoing discussions and disputes regarding songwriting credits and the band's legacy while continuing to perform and release new music under the name Klymaxx featuring Cheryl Cooley?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, it's unfortunate that we couldn't all have done it together.
Yeah,
Uh,
it is. It is.
but everybody has their own musical path that they have to follow or do. So it kind of boils down to that. But once the audience hears the songs on stage, that's what they're there for. They're there to, for some of them, reminisce those moments in their life when those songs were out. There's new fans out there who's like, oh yeah, I've heard this song before. I really like it. So it's really about the music. It's about the fans.
Yeah,
It's about, the legacy of, Klymaxx, the R&B all-female band that charted
yeah,
on Billboard. That is the
yeah.
most important element of our existence, being there together as the audience and the band.
That's right. Wow. Well, there you go. And plus, everybody's still working. There's no problems. You doing you, they doing, they doing them. So that's all that matters. Well, what was it like working with the Solar Record Galaxy? I think it's the Solar Record Galaxy.
Oh, Solar, oh, Galaxy
So
of
Solar.
Stars. Okay. That was actually, I think, one of the titles of one of their tours that I don't know, I guess that could have been the one that we were on. I know they had like one right before we had signed with them. But,
Yeah.
the Solar family, the Solar Record family, they were they were always very good to us. It was a smaller label, so, we could have the right kind of attention
Right.
paid
Yeah.
paid to us. And the other artists that were on the label, they would teach us things, about being in the studio or being on the road, about putting music together. So it was a great place really to be, because of the, camaraderie, of the entire company.
Company. Wow. Well, that's great. I just have two more questions, and
Okay, no worries.
because I usually like to do it and let it be an hour. That's
As
it.
long as you don't ask me, do I know how to cook? Okay, so anyway,
Yeah, that was my next question. Yeah.
no, I don't know how
No.
to cook. I
Oh
do not
wow.
know how to cook. I'm sorry, I don't know how to cook because my
You
mother lived
food a
next
lot.
door to me for a long time, so I just go over her
Oh,
house and get food. So no, and then one day when I was a kid, she said, "Hey Cheryl, I need you to come into the kitchen and learn how to cook." Well, I wasn't interested, and so she said, "Well,
oh,
look, either you're going to come in the kitchen and learn how to cook, or you're going to go in the den and play your guitar. Which do you think I chose?"
the guitar. You left.
Okay, so you know what? As of today, I think I could probably bake some chicken.
Oh, okay. Well, with that's okay. That's all right. But
Don't
not
ask
the
for sides. Don't ask for
not
sides.
yeah, not the whole Thanksgiving dinner. Just one thing. That's all you get. That's it. But that's cool. That's cool. But Well, your major influences, your music influences, was one of them the Beatles?
Of course, I mean, the Beatles were the first kind of band that,
Yeah, they
we
were.
as
They were.
Americans have seen on TV.
Yeah,
So,
they were too.
being an instrumentalist, I can't imagine, them not being influential. Yeah, for sure. I mean, they were playing guitars. Oh, look, a guitar.
That's right. That's right. And how did it shape your style, your guitar style, just by watching?
Oh, I don't.
Yeah.
Actually, what really shaped my guitar style
Yeah, we
is
should.
Sly and the Family Stone because they played
Oh,
funk
okay.
music.
They're
Yeah,
funk music. That's right.
yeah,
Funk sound.
yeah, yeah. Uh-huh.
Yeah, Sly and the Family. I still listen to them to this day.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Wow. Can you describe the songwriting and creative process within Klymaxx and how it may have evolved? How have it may evolve from the 80 hits to newer singles like Love Me?
Oh, wow. Um, oh gosh. Well, it's kind of always like not so much individual, but coming together to write a song together. I think that's always been part of the whole Climax legacy is not just one man standing writing all the songs, but all of us contributing to the music writing
Okay.
legacy.
All right. All
Yeah.
right. And I know that you're on your spiritual journey. I know that you continue to do that, which is important.
Oh yeah.
And yeah, I didn't want to get all into it because I said only had two questions, but I do have another one.
Hey, let me check my time. Yeah, I got all day.
Oh wow, wow, okay. Well, that's great. That's great. I already have a whole wonderful time with you anyway. Given your experience, what changes would you like to see in the music industry to better
Okay.
support and acknowledge female instrumentalists,
Instrumentalist, yeah, okay.
instrumentalists
Okay.
and songwriters? I need to say this again.
Okay.
Given your experience, what changes would you like to see in the music industry to better support and acknowledge female instrumentalists and songwriters?
Oh, wow. Um, Not to just write us off, I think there's a subconscious idea that women can't play as well as men, whether
Oh
it's
yeah.
verbalized or not.
Mhm.
But there are some amazing female musicians out there, female instrumentalists out there that
Yeah.
have gone past that barrier.
Mhm.
And I think just being open to not, I guess, not seeing them as, ooh, that sounds so bad. Anyway, not seeing them as women, but seeing them as musicians first would definitely help the situation. Not to take away from anybody's femininity, but, music is universal. Music
Right.
has
Right.
no gender to it. Music is, a vibration. I
Yeah.
mean, we have to think of the effects of the human part of music,
Of
or
music. Yeah.
the effects music has on humans
That's right.
to really kind of erase that whole gender thing,
Mhm.
gender
Yeah. Yeah. I got you.
boundaries,
I got
kind
you.
of.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, that has to be my answer. I can't think of any other way to say it.
Yeah. You put it exactly how you wanted it to
Yeah.
be. And it came out right. You
Yeah.
know. I definitely want to thank you for this interview, Miss Cheryl
Oh,
Cooley. I do, and it was wonderful. It was.
thank you. Oh, it's
And
cool.
you're welcome. And hopefully we could do this again in the future. You
Okay.
know, you're
Yeah.
not busy.
Yeah. Just know there's a difference between my two emails. So if I don't answer one right away, you gotta try the
Try the
other.
other one. Yeah, so I just go back and forth. Like windshield wipers. I go back and forth. Which
But
phone
the
works better?
last thing I really want to say is I invite your viewers, your listeners to, check out our website,
Yeah,
climax.com. That's spelled Klymaxx.com. Check
that's
us
right.
out.
That's right.
Our calendar is there, the music is there, there's
Right.
pictures there. Please check out and all of our social media and
That's right.
contacts are there. So yeah, check us out.
That's right. Check them out. Klymaxx, legendary. I'm sorry, iconic group, iconic band. Check them out. I thank you so much, Miss Cheryl Cooley. And just let the fans know one more time the social medias, the handles
Oh,
for social media.
sure. Our website is klymaxx.com, KLYMAXX.com. Our Instagram is Klymaxx Music. Well, actually, all of them, I guess, are Klymaxx
Climax.
Music, except for X or Twitter or whatever they call it now. It's just
Yeah, X.
Klymaxx.
Same thing, X, but you know.
Yeah. Hey, this is Cheryl Cooley of the all-female band Klymaxx, and you're watching A Vision Entertainment. Yeah.